Right, let's go have a look at the surface area of a cylinder. Now, before you go reciting some formula, let's build it, okay? Because remember, the problems always change. You need to be able to construct your formula, not just rely on it from memory. So, what would the formula be? Well, remember, a good way to look at this is to break it up into or make a net of this shape. Okay, you may think, well, how on earth do you make a net of a cylinder? Because of all the curvy parts. Well, if you look at the top, that's flat. That's just a circle. Okay, and the bottom is a circle. And well, if you would snip this up, you could flatten the curvy part out and you just get a rectangle. Something like that. Now, well, you should know the area of a circle. That's pi r squared. The question here is, how do we find the dimensions of this rectangle? Now, well, this part here you say would be the height. Okay, so we could put that down, h. And this length here, well, how are we going to find that out? Well, look at this. It would wrap around the circumference of that circle we've just drawn. So, what's the circumference of a circle? Well, if you don't know, twinkle twinkle little star, circumference equals 2 pi r. Okay, so 2 pi r. Not all the problems you're going to get are closed cylinders. Okay, a closed cylinder is when you've got a top and the bottom. You may have a cylinder that's open at one end, or it could be open at both ends. Okay, you need to be able to get rid of one of the circles, or maybe two of the circles. Okay, and this is what why it's important to be able to construct your formulas. So, but the problem we're dealing with here, we'll call it a closed cylinder. Okay, so if you do know the formula, you would know it like this, most likely. 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. Now, let's go ahead and put those dimensions in. So, well, wait a second, we don't have the radius. We do have, well, let's write. It's always a good idea as well to write down what you know. So, h, or height here, well, that's 10. And, well, this is width, but it's also the diameter. Was 4, and well, we don't really need the diameter, but radius we know is half the diameter, so we can write that, and so it's nice and clear what's going on. Now we can substitute 2 pi r. Now use parentheses where possible when you substitute. Even if you don't really have to, I think it's a good idea, just because when you start to deal with negatives, and it looks after itself, you know, just get in the habit. Times 2, and h here is 10. Well, that's going to be... Now, you may get some questions that ask you for an exact answer. What's that mean? Well, if we have a look at what pi is, right, well, pi is the circumference, how many times the diameter fits into the circumference, and it's an irrational number, so it's 3.14159, that keeps going, never repeating. So if I was to calculate this, or put it in your calculator, which we will do, you're going to get a decimal which we need to round. Okay, rounding doesn't give an exact answer. So an exact answer will just leave pi in our answer. Okay, we all like pi, so let's leave it there. Okay, so, well, 2 times pi times 4 is, well, 2 times 4 is 8, so that's 8 pi. And 2 times 10, 20, double that, that's 40 pi. Now they're like terms, you can collect those, that's 48 pi. That's our exact answer. Now in this case, let's just assume they want it to 1 decimal place. So this is where you go ahead and put it in your calculator, but always you'd always approximate before you plug in something to your calculator. Like, what is pi very close to? 3. What's 48 very close to? 50. 3 times 50. We're going to expect an answer of about 150. Okay, so what do we get approximately? Let's write it out. 48 times pi. Well, when you see a number like this, and it's pretty spot on, isn't it, to what we're expecting, you know you've done the right thing. So let's write this to 1 decimal place. So when you're rounding to 1 decimal, there's the first decimal place. We look at the next one. That's 5 or more, isn't it? So it's much closer to 0.8. So 150.8. Now surface area. So we might just, therefore surface area is equal to 150.8 units squared to 1 decimal place. And there you have it. You have the makings of what you need to solve any problem that is finding the surface area of a cylinder.